And I am never sure whether we're alive or whether we're not alive. Well, I know I'm alive. Wait a minute. No, I said, I totally said that wrong. Let's pretend that I didn't say that. Oh gosh, it's been a week. All right. We are live. I think we are live. And I'm hoping, Chris, people are logging on. Are they starting to log on right
They
now?
they are, and we had some early birds already in the chat room.
Oh, good. Does that mean lots of questions? Right, we have a few things to cover today, but before we go into any of that, first of all, I'd like to say, good. I'm laughing because I'm getting it all mucked up. I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who, as always, is standing to my right side. I just do not know what he's laughing at me. I just do not know what I would do without him. But here he is. Also, I'd like to say good morning to Chris. Sorry, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning.
And of course, last but by no means least, I'd like to say good morning to all of you who are joining us for our show today. It promises to be a bit of a full show because remember that lovely,
Because
that wonderful musical, that wonderful Wizard of Oz. And I'm trying to think when it was sung in the. It'll come to me anyway at some point. Um, can you all tell I'm feeling a little better? I'm not coughing nearly so much. However, I do have a fan going overhead, so I'm not promising not to cough at all. I think I told you, I talked about a drink that I was taking. I went on YouTube because, excuse me, the doctors wanted me to put me on all sorts of inhalers and so on, and I'm not keen on medication, so I don't like it, so I don't take it unless I absolutely have to. But I really did have to because I was really struggling to breathe. So they gave me this inhaler, and when I went to the pharmacy to pick it up, it cost me $109. That was with my insurance and discounts and so on and so forth. It cost me $109. And I'm thinking, $109 for a month? Well, little did I know how lucky I was to get an inhaler that only cost me $109, because the first go around, the first month was fine. I tried to do without it the second month and I couldn't, so I started taking it again, which is what caused all that, my throat issues and all sorts of other issues. So the doctor prescribed me something else, and I went to the pharmacy for something else. Well, actually, my friend Mary Lou went to the pharmacy for me because I was really, really feeling ill. She went to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist says, "I'm really sorry to have to tell you, but it's this one is $485. So we're now looking at $500 a month." What? So I called my lovely doctor's office, and my doctor wasn't in at that time. So there was another doctor who said, "Oh, give us something else to try." I think he was saying that this one wasn't working. So I went for the third option now, which was just under $700. I am not lying to you. I am telling the absolute truth. Who in their right mind is going to pay, well, who can afford to pay, unless you're an extremely wealthy person? I know lots of you think I am, but I'm not that. I'm not spending $700. No. So I thought, all right, let's go and see what I can see. So I went on YouTube and I did my research, and I found this great guy. His name is Dr. Alan Mandel. I do not know what he's a doctor of, but he has lots of videos and lots of suggestions for almost every ailment you can imagine. Now, it sounds a bit like a quack, and some of you are thinking, so, okay, then, so how much is he charging for this wonderful information? And of course, I was thinking just the same thing, but actually, he has tons of videos, tons of advice. I'm not suggesting you take his advice, that's your choice. But he suggested this drink for this issue that I'm having. I've now been taking it, this is my 15th or 16th day. But by the time I had, it's just one drink. And I think I gave you the recipe last time: 1 cup of hot water, 2 teaspoons of honey, 1/4 teaspoon of that stuff I really hate, cinnamon. I really hate cinnamon, but it goes in anyway. 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 2 ounces of lemon juice. Now, what's wrong with any of that? None of it is harmful. And after the 4th day, I noticed that I'd stopped coughing as much. After the 8th day or something, I noticed I was breathing better. And here I am on my 14th or 15th day. I take it once a day in the morning before I have anything to eat on an empty stomach. And it's great. And so I'm now not going to be paying $700 for an inhaler. This stuff that I'm taking, I don't know that it cures the situation, but it certainly loosens everything up, helps me to breathe. And here I am. So all of you who've been so worried about me, I just want to tell you that I feel great. If it weren't for my back and my hand, I'd be 100%. I woke up 2 days ago. I woke up in the morning and it struck me so hard. Wow. I couldn't believe I actually said to myself, wow, I feel really good this morning. It was such a shock to feel good. And of course, then I got out of bed and my back went out. You know, so, but I still feel good. And you know, when you're feeling good within yourself, whatever other issues, and of course my hand is still an issue, whatever other issues you've got, you're able to handle them in a much, much better way. So all I'm saying to you is check out Dr. Alan Mandel. The reason I really like what he's saying is because he explains it all to you and it doesn't cost a penny. He gives you these recipes and suggestions and you don't have to subscribe. You don't have to, it costs you nothing. So, you know, and everything that he suggests is something that most people keep in their kitchen, in their kitchen cupboards. The only thing I had to go out and buy, because I know some of you are thinking, how can you dislike cinnamon? But I really, really dislike the taste of cinnamon. So the only thing I had to go out and buy, because that everything else, was the cinnamon. But anyway, it seems to be working really well. I'm not telling you it's a cure. I don't know, maybe another week or two it'll stop working, who knows? But I think when you find good things, you should share them, right? I think you should share them. All right, Chris, how many people have we got here? Is everybody clicking on, or are we still waiting for people to click on?
Oh, you've got a good majority on. I think, as usual, people join late. So.
Okay, all right. So right. So let's just get to it. We've got a couple of things I do have to talk to you about. I don't know how many of you noticed, but we sent out 2 newsletters this month. The first one was it looked the same until you started to get to all the other stuff which was put underneath what I had written in the newsletter. And what had happened was that we had used an app. Now you can get it on YouTube, but or should I say YouTube provides it to you if you like to use it. And but you can also get apps, and you can find this thing from different places. I do believe it's called AI, which is the initials of artificial intelligence. Sounds great, don't you think? And also, I think a lot of people use it. My daughter has used it from time to time. A lot of people use it because you can put into this app what it is you want to say, and they will spit it back out to you in a way that sounds better or more concise, or whatever it is. You can also use it, apparently, which is what we did. You can also use it to go into your videos. And so what happens is I'm telling you in a non-technical way, right? I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure a lot of you don't. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I think that this is what you do. You take a video that you've done and you click on this artificial intelligence thing, this little robot machine, whatever it is called, and it is supposed to transcribe your words from your video, and it's supposed to transcribe it as you've said it. But there's a little thing that you don't realize until suddenly you realize it. Now, it sounds like a good idea. So, I mean, why wouldn't you want why wouldn't you want to be able to transcribe something in your video? However, what it does, it decides, this little artificial intelligence robot decides on the what it considers to be the important points, or the points that it finds are the most relevant. It finds are the most relevant. And so consequently, and I should have read it before it went out, so I have to apologize to everybody for this. And I'd love it if any of you have had this experience. Maybe some of you have had this experience and used this, and it's been great. I will never use it again, ever, but I should have read it before it went out, because, and I'll give you a couple of points in there which show you how, by taking someone's words and then putting them in an order that this little robot thinks they should be in, which they have decided, or it, I shouldn't say they, it makes a person, that it has decided is the most relevant. What you've said is completely misconstrued, misinterpreted, etc., etc. It's just, it's ridiculous. So, and had I read it before it went out, and I could make 1,000 excuses as to why I didn't read it through before it went out, but anyway, it is what it is. So in there, on the one hand, it's talking about my experience, and you can read this story. I do believe it's in the Eagle and the Rose. You can read this story about how my first experience of astral traveling with my permission. Not the first time I went astral traveling, but the first time I said, closed my eyes and said, okay, let's do it. And it's describing some of that. Now, in the story, as I tell it, it's an amazing story. It's an incredible story. And as I tell it, I do have to wonder, is this possible that this is a past life? Is it possible that it somehow, who knows, somehow in your subconscious, what is it? But I certainly have never claimed to have a past life. I don't believe personally in past lives. I believe in one life where we have lots of different experiences. And some of you may call those different experiences a past life. That's your choice. But for me, I have never claimed to have a past life. But here we are, and I'm reading this thing, and it actually says in this thing, my past life. And when I read it, I was horrified, because I do not claim that. That is not what I'm saying. So what this little artificial intelligence thing did is it took my words, but it put them in a way that I was now saying something that I actually wasn't saying, although my words were verbatim taken completely out of context. So it gives you the wrong impression, which is, of course, I certainly don't want to give you, absolutely don't want to give you the wrong impression. I know some of you are now wondering, well, if you don't believe in parasites, what do you believe in? We've talked through that again and again and again on these shows, so we're not going to necessarily talk about that today. And then further down, it's talking about soul signs, because we plugged it into the soul signs video, and I was so shocked. And I do want all of you who have read the book Soul Signs, and I do want all of you who are looking for your soulmate, please disregard what it says there, because it says in there, as if it's absolute and verbatim, and it's as if this is what I'm saying. It actually says, I'm not quite sure of the wording, but it actually says, when you meet your soulmate, there will be tears and heartache, or something like that, which is not the case at all. Not at all. When you meet your soulmate, and the book Soul Science describes all of this, there are many different, we have soulmates, we have playmates, we have workmates, we have all of those people that we're meant to meet prior to our coming to this earth, and we have relationships, or we build relationships with them. But a true soulmate is a soulmate who you can literally connect with and be at one with. And of course, we all want our soulmate, don't we? We're all looking for that one special person in our lives. And somewhere in the description in the book, I've not gone back to look at it, but I think this is where they have messed it up. I've probably said, just because it's your soulmate doesn't mean that you're going to live that happy ever after everyday life. Of course, you still have to go through the traumas of life and the difficulties of life, even if it's with your soulmate, but you manage to get through them. There might be tears, there might be heartache, there might be this and that, but with a soulmate, you can literally deal with those things. Finding your soulmate doesn't mean, okay, now I've found my perfect life. Now I've found my perfect partner. Now I've found, everything is now going to be fine. So, okay, so I've thought about this, and I'd be interested to hear your comments about it, because I think when I look at what's been written there and what's been put there, and again, I sincerely apologize that this has gone out, because I've obviously allowed some of you to think things that I don't believe. But thinking about it, I think this is one of the most dangerous, this artificial intelligence, thinking that a robot can think like a human being, thinking that a robot has the same feelings and the same awareness and the same judgments. To me, it's the most scary, the most dangerous thing, because in life and all around the world, and when we're talking about politicians, and when we're talking about health situations, and when we're talking about caring for each other and caring for this world of ours, the most important thing that we need to do is to communicate correctly, to communicate our thoughts, to communicate our feelings. And if we're going to allow some little robot to make assumptions about what we're thinking and feeling, or make assumptions about which of what we've said is the most important or the most salient point, is so dangerous. It's so scary. And in a way, I'm glad that that I had the experience, although I'm very sorry to have to apologize to all of you again. I'm so sorry if you were misled by this, but I had to correct it, because the fact that we allow these things to happen, and for youngsters particularly, It's like, oh, I don't have to think about what I'm going to say. I'll just click that button and it'll tell me what to say. Please, please, please don't do it, because you're allowing something that is nothing, has no mind, no brain, no heart, no soul, to be your voice. And I think it's one of the most dangerous things. Anyway, and that's that. All right, I'm done with that. Now, getting back to, I want to talk to Ornella. I don't know if she's on or not. Ornella, I promise you that I would explain more and talk more about a quote that you'd given, but I've looked and I can't find it. So if you could do, please, these two things. If you could email Chris, tell her the book, the name of the book they're getting it from, and the page number, because I can't go through all of the books and all of the page numbers and so on and so forth to find this one thing. Because again, you have told me what it says. It's not that I don't trust you, but I'd like to read it for myself. I'd like to read exactly what it was that Gregor said. And I would like to see if what you've said is in context or not in context. So before I start to explain it, I want to see actually what in fact was written, and then I'll be able to give you a more thorough and a more detailed explanation of what it means. That's that. Do we still have anybody on the show, Chris?
Yeah, we have even more than when you started, which is usual.
Okay, so as long as I'm not putting everybody off, I would like, if anybody's got a comment about this artificial intelligence thing, oh, it is so scary to me.
I can give you a couple of them, Rosemary, if you want them now.
Great.
All right, so Kay was on, and she said, as you're talking, I'm remembering, oh, hold on, it just scrolled down, about listen to my words from the old lesson that you gave.
Yes, that's what I tell all of my students. Listen to my words. Don't make assumptions about what I'm saying. Don't make assumptions about what is important or what you think I'm thinking is important. Listen to my words, listen to my tone, and I will explain to you clearly what it means. And this artificial intelligence thing just takes that, bundles it all together, decides in its own. Does it have a mind? Of course it doesn't have a mind. I don't know how it works. And I guess the people who invented it think it's fantastic. And I guess the people who use it think it's fantastic. Well, it's only fantastic until it messes up, until it takes your words and jumbles them and makes them into something that you never said, or you said in a way that you never meant. This is, let's talk just for a second about Facebook. Do you know how many fights and arguments and how many people lose their temper and how many fallouts there are because people are reading a comment that somebody says? And you can read it, anything that anybody writes, you can put your own, however you're happening to be feeling in that moment that you're reading it, you can put your own interpretation on what they're saying. And so many people are saying, how dare she say this to me, when the comment was meant actually to be completely inoffensive. So what I did years ago, and Kay, if you're on, you'll remember this, we had an issue where one of our students wrote letters, and those letters caused so much horror and so much offense. And it turned out that some people thought the letter meant this and some people thought the letter meant that. I banned my students from writing letters to each other. Don't do it. If you've got something to say to somebody, please say it to them. My students always used to get nervous if I ever said to them, if you could stay back, I need to talk to you. And they'd always get worried because they'd think, oh God, what did I do? Am I in trouble? But I do not, if I have something to say to someone, good or bad, I like to say it to them so that then there is no misunderstanding, because if they say, well, do you mean this? I can say, no, I don't mean this. I mean this. Or they say to me, are you angry? And I can say yes, or I can say absolutely not. I can say this is a compliment to you, or I can say this is um, a guided criticism meant to help you to see how you can improve yourself. So words, language, very, very important. And when we're going around the world, and can you imagine all the politicians who are using this artificial intelligence thing, which is spitting out stuff, and other people are listening and thinking, oh, that person must have written it because they sent it to me. Just like I'm sure you must have, when you read, some of you read the newsletter, oh, she believes in life. She had a life, she had an experience. What was she in another life? No, sorry, but that is the impression that is given in this newsletter. So anyway, enough to know more about that. Any other comments, Chris, before we move forward?
Gary gave one of his normal humorous quips.
Okay, go for it, Gary.
He says, I think we need to work on human intelligence before we even thinking of artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah. Well, in my book, anyone who uses artificial intelligence without checking and without double checking and without going back and forth, it does show, and I hold my hand up to this, it shows a lack of intelligence, certainly on my part, because it was my responsibility at the end of the day to read what was being sent out. And had I read what was being sent out, it wouldn't have even gone out. Again, this is the last time. I do apologize to all of you for that. But I think it's created a really good discussion. And I'm hoping that many of you are thinking about that. If you've got something to say, whether it's to write something down, you want to tell a story, or you want to talk to people about different things, please do as I tell my students. Listen to my words, pay attention to my words, pay attention to my actions before you make a judgment on what it is I'm saying. And if you have any questions, ask me. Okay. Now we come to a little bit of business. Also in the newsletter, the second one that you got, I talked about Kay, who you just heard saying, listen to my words, and she's absolutely right. She and Karen are coming on with me to do a cracking up sometime, hopefully this month, if we can get it together. It is my birthday month after all, so we're going to do a cracking up session, and we'll let you know the dates for that. And what else was there in there? We're also going to be doing more healing and talking about doing, more healing. If you know of someone who would like to receive the newsletter, I was I gave some consultations this week, and I was talking to one lady who said, how do I get your newsletter? I don't get your newsletter. Well, all you have to do is you can either email the office, or you can put it up where Chris can see it, or go to the website, and all you have to do is click on a button and get on my list. And if you get on the list, we'll send you a newsletter. We've been a little remiss for the last year. I can't imagine why. I know, yeah. I've been suffering. Anyway, all sorts of things have happened this last year, so we're hoping now to be getting back together and getting back on board with what we usually do. So please check the website from time to time, and just you'll be able to see what's going on. On the 16th of May, which is next week, and it happens to be a Thursday, So I should be doing the show in the morning, and in the afternoon, I'll be doing a webinar. All of the details, you'll find them on the website, or Chris can put the details up for you. I think you can sign up at, I don't know. It's all about the website. What is the website about? It's got the weirdest title. I shouldn't say that really. I don't want to offend anybody, but it does have an odd title. But
Live
it's
as
all about
frequency.
what?
Live
What is
as
it?
frequency.
Yeah, live as frequency. It's all about vibration and vibrational levels, and there'll be, I think, a few other speakers. It's not just me. People will be giving their ideas and so on about, you know, what frequency means to them. When I'm going to be talking about raising your level of consciousness and how we can do that, because getting on the right frequency with those in the spirit world, or getting on the right frequency within your own soul, with it, connecting with your own soul, getting connected to the right frequency with whatever it is you're doing, whether it's giving healing, whether it's connecting with the spirit world, or whatever it is, that will be what I will be talking about. So if you want to join in with that, Chris will give you the information, and
it's also on our website, Rosemary, on the events section of your website.
Please go to the website, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, I think is the web. Is that right?
Yep.
No, that's not right, is it?
Oh, that's your email address. I'm sorry. rosemaryaltea.com. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. The website is very simple. Rosemary, Rosemary, just in case you don't know. Altea, Altea, with the Altea is at the end. At the end. Anyway, however you want to say it, that's the spelling of it. You can find it. You can go in there and you can check on the webinar and see if it's something for you. And we'd love to have you join us. So that's on the 16th. So we're doing a cracking up. And also, my birthday is a Sunday, so we will not be doing anything on Sunday because we won't. But at some point during the month of May, I'll be doing something that celebrates birthdays. And maybe all you May birthday people out there might want me to wish you a happy birthday, or you might know of someone who would love to hear me say happy birthday to them. So send in your request, but do it quickly, because you know we're sort of we're not halfway through May, but we're a little bit through May. All right.
Dean has already made it known that his birthday is 6 days before yours.
Does that mean, Dean, that you're the 13th of May? I think it does, right? Is that right? Yes. Yes. So we Tauruses, we have to stick together. Anyway, all right. One more thing before I'm opening it up to you. You better all be ready for this, right? I promised last week, somebody asked about crystals and crystal healing. And usually when I'm giving healing, I don't use crystals. It's not, they're not necessary to me. They don't help me to connect with vibration, or they don't help me to center myself. They don't do any of that. But I know that a lot of people do use crystals in order to help them center themselves. And there's a lot of power in crystals, a lot of power in rock. You can pick a stone up off of the beach and you can hold it, you can feel something. You know, sometimes there's nothing, but sometimes you pick something up and it's the vibrational level is amazing and the strength of it is amazing. So I promised I would show you my two crystals. So here we go. I'm going to show you the big one first. It's, you know, and if you have crystals, when you go to choose them, you really need to be very, very careful. You need to be very aware, pay attention, and you need to simply, when you pick it up, now you might, if you're buying it from a shop, I didn't buy these. If you buy it from a shop, You might want to ask the assistant, could they run it under some clear, cool water, or dip it in a clear bowl of clear water before you handle it, because you need to wash off any other energy, because people handle these things all the time, and these pieces of stone, like jewelry, like anything at all, they will retain your energy, they will retain your vibrational energy. So when you're choosing a crystal, you need to make sure, first of all, that it's nice and clean, and the second thing you need to do is just you hold it, left hand, right hand, doesn't matter, but allow yourself then to raise your level of consciousness, to become aware of what this is doing for you, if anything at all. Can you feel anything? Does it mean anything to you? Does it connect with your soul? Is there something in it that draws you to it, draws it to you? And you'll often find it's, when you're looking for something like this, it's somehow that the energies will connect. You'll find that it's drawing this crystal, or whatever it is, it's drawing you to it because your energies are compatible and the vibrational levels are very compatible. So that's my first one, like this. And then I remember, oh gosh, so many years ago. Am I really that old? I guess it's my birthday. I'll be, what will I be, 50 something? I'm 90, really. No, I'm 90, don't you? But I remember doing a demonstration for a group of people, and showing people how you can actually use a piece of crystal to help you to figure out the issues, the physical issues or the emotional issues of another person. And you sort of, so you almost use it. You've seen these people on the beach with their, what they call them, little Geiger counter things or whatever it is, looking for jewelry. What they're doing is they're trying to connect with the vibration of a piece of metal and so on. And you can do the same with crystals, and you can actually place them around a person if you want to, and you can sort of go up and down them, or swish up, whatever, however it is you want to use it. And some people can actually be guided by the energy of the crystal to wherever the issue on somebody's body might be. So it's interesting. Anyway, so that is my second piece of crystal. And this is, even though this is perhaps bigger and people might think it's, oh yeah, that's nice, this is my favorite piece. And if I were using it for healing, which I actually don't, but if I were using it and if I were demonstrating, it would be this particular one. Why? Because it fits me, it connects with me. So when you're looking for crystals, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for a fit, looking for something that just feels right for you. And this just absolutely feels right for me. So they're my crystals. Right, I'm done talking. Questions, Chris, or comments, or what are people thinking here about what we're talking about?
Okay, so Gary started off the show saying, wishing all mothers the love they deserve this Mother's Day weekend.
Well, I like that, and I'm a mother, so I'm going to take it. Thank you.
And then we have the first question, which is from Jojo. Hello, Rosemary. Hope you are well. This weekend is Mother's Day. I would love to know if my mother is sorry of accusing me on her deathbed about everything that went wrong in our family.
Oh dear. Oh, Jojo, I just want to put my arms around you. I had a similar experience. In fact, I was telling someone the other day about an experience with my mother when everybody, doctors, nurses, family, everybody knew she was dying and she was at the end of her life. And when I finally got to the hospital, this is it. This is it. Now you're here. We're all here now. You can finally get all that stuff. Anyway, my mother was I know I sound like a horrible person, but my mother was a great manipulator and a great actress, and I'm not going to tell the whole story because it's a really awful story. But the next day, she told everybody that I saved her, so, which I probably did. But anyway, I remember saying to my mother, Jojo, when she was supposedly dying, and everybody believed that she was, and I knew that she wasn't. She had another 10 or 12, maybe even a lot more years before she did actually pop her clogs. I remember, sort of comforting her or trying to comfort her, and held her hand and sat on the bed. And I said, well, just, if this is your time, just think of all those wonderful, wonderful people that you're going to meet that, you've had in your life for all of your life. You're going to meet all these wonderful people. And my mother snarled at she managed to find the energy to snarl at me, and the face of the Wicked Witch of the North. Yes, I'm a horrible person. Anyway, but this is unfortunately how she was, and very, very sad when you see somebody like that. You see someone with such anger and frustration, and I know that my mother felt that she'd been robbed of whatever happiness or joy or whatever, and looking for every other person to blame but of course herself. And she snarled at me and she said, there's nobody that I want to meet, nobody. Now, it's such a sad story, but nevertheless, it's such a hurtful story. And I looked at my mother and, I just was so sad that she just wanted to blame everybody for her misery and her unhappiness and all of the things that, had happened to her that weren't nice. But the truth of the matter was that she didn't have any light within her. There was no real joy. She was always disappointed. She was certainly always disappointed in me. I was the worst, and I just feel, Jojo, that what I want to say to you is this, right? Don't believe a word of it. What your mother was doing was she was spitting at you because you happened to be there and blaming you for all of the misery in her life, which she caused, not you. Don't feel guilty. There's nothing for your mother to forgive. If you can forgive her, that's great. But what you were hearing from her, because she knew she was dying, what you were hearing from her was all of the anger, the frustration, and the disappointments that she didn't have whatever. She didn't have happiness. She didn't find the love of her life. Everybody was awful to her. And boy, oh boy, did you get it. You got the lot. Don't believe, please, Jojo, please believe me. Don't believe a word of it. You are not responsible for anything that happened with your mother. You are certainly not responsible for her misery. She created that misery. She is the one who's responsible. Unfortunately, you were the kicking post right at that moment. That person she could punch, that person she could spit at, the way that my mother spit at me on her supposed deathbed. She actually didn't die, as we've just said, but there they are, and all of that anger and frustration that their life didn't turn out as they wanted it to be. And it never occurs to people like this to think, what could I have done to make it better? If I had been nicer, if I had been kinder, if I had been more reasonable, if I had not been such a negative person. Your mother sounds to me like she's oh gosh, can't think now. Same as my mother. Help me out, Chris. She was.
Retrospective?
It was your mother was definitely a retrospective soul. There's nothing you could have done in your life had you spent your entire life bending over backwards to try to please her. She would have never been pleased ever. And it's not you. It's not your responsibility. It's hers. Please, please believe me, Jojo. You've got nothing to worry about here. You just have to feel sad for your mother. It is what it is. You know, people talk about Mother's Day and everybody's celebrating Mother's Day, but there are some mothers out there, let me tell you, you know, who are, they're humdingers, let me tell you. Not so loving, not so caring. Not every mother is a caring and a loving mother. And so, it's awful when we talk about Mother's Day to all the mothers out there and all the rest of it. And I wish all of you wonderful mothers, you caring, joyous, joyful, loving, nurturing mothers out there. I actually said to my friend's grandson the other day, I think he's 9 years old, and I said to him, because he plays baseball all the time, and I said, you know, the the reason that you have such a great time is because of your mom and your dad and your grandma, because they take you here, there, and everywhere. So remember, as you're growing up and as you're doing more and more baseball, you need to show gratitude to them for what they give to you. And Mother's Day is that time when those of you who have loving and wonderful mothers should definitely, if you can, try and show your gratitude. It's no good thinking, well, they know I love them. No, they don't. You have to say it. If you don't say it, they don't know it. So, to all of you out there who have mothers who you love, don't forget to say it. And for all of you mums out there who have kids, because to me, Mother's Day is not just about my daughter and my grandson valuing me and making my day a great day. Mother's Day is for us mothers to shower our children with all the love and the joy that we have to give them. It's a two-way street. Chris.
All right. The next question is from Christian. Hi, Rosemary. Gray Eagle told me that I have a guide on my shoulder, not a highly evolved one. Is he or she my twin soul? And how can I be more sensitive to his or her advice? Thank you so much.
I'd love to know when it was that Grey Eagle told you this, and I'm assuming that he told you this because you were talking to me. Um, we all have those in the spirit world who guide us and steer us. We all of them do. Um, I'm listening to Grey Eagle at the moment, and I'm going to say weirdly that you're the person who guides you and steers you, who I would not refer to as a spirit guide, but I would refer to as a guide for you and special to you, I'm going to say weirdly, is a twin. And I don't know what you're going to make of that, but definitely you have people in the spirit world who are nurturing you, guiding you, and obviously encouraging you to do the best you can do in your life and to live your life in the most joyous and wonderful way. Chris.
The next question is from Carlos. Good morning, Rosemary. I want to know if I will find a job soon and if I need to study for a master's degree.
Oh, well, yes and yes. that's that's what Craig said to me. So yes and yes, and there you have it. How simple can that be? Yes and yes, Carlos.
The next question's from Barb. Silly question if you have time. Maybe we shall laugh. I know our pets are with us in the spiritual world. However, I've always wanted a horse. Let's see, she was cut off, and then so I know there was a little bit down here.
Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead.
just give me 1 second. All
You
right,
know
there
you're
we
not
go.
going to get a horse, don't you?
She said, however, I've always wanted a horse, but I don't have one. Does this mean I have to buy one before I leave here?
No, no. Uh, oh, that's a good idea. So this is what Grey Eagle is suggesting. You might like the idea. I think it's a great idea. You might like it or you might not like it. You know, there are lots of rescue centres for animals, and specifically, there are lots of rescue centres for horses. You might try that because I think that's where you will get the most joy. Chris.
All right. Judith says your face shows you feel better. You look brighter and your color is better. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I have to say, it's been a bit of a long slog, and I am coughing a bit, but it's the fan that's doing it. So, but thank you very much because I really do feel better, and I'm absolutely certain that a lot of this has to do with all of the healing that I'm getting and all of your wonderful prayers, and I do thank you all for that very, very much.
Dean wants to know, does Gray Eagle plan on ever returning to the earth plane?
Oh, Dean, we can't answer that. Um, I think not for a while would be the thing to say. And oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. He does visit the earth plane because he's with me. Wherever I go, he goes, vice versa. We go together. So he is having this earth experience just in a different way than perhaps we would.
All right. Mark wants to know if you were up to sharing this about Gray Eagle. I had asked a couple weeks ago how our spirit guides are chosen to be ours, how Gray Eagle was given to you as mine was designed or destined to be mine. Can you ask Gray Eagle to share?
Okay, I'm not sure it was given to me. I think, you know, I can tell you this. I think it's going to create far more questions than answers, Mark. But Grey Eagle's answer is we evolve. Time, space, energy, vibration, we evolve. And we come together with compatibility. And compatibility means energy, vibration, and a true connection. And that's all you got. That's all I've got to give you for now. See, I did say to you it's going to create far more questions than answers.
Eric wants to know, is a dowsing lesson coming soon?
Would you like it to? That might be a good idea, Chris. Put it on the list. Let's have it on the list. I think, yeah, I think a dowsing lesson would be, yeah, it would be great. That would be a really good idea. I have to get myself together for it though, because I'm trying really hard because of all of the stuff that's going on, and I still have other stuff that I have to deal with, you know, more tests and all of that stuff to do. I do not want to deplete my energy too much because, you know, I need it for me. As I tell all of my healers, we have to be selfish with ourselves and give to ourselves first. But I think that's a good idea. I think people would love to have dowsing lessons. And I think, let me see, what else? What else could we do? I'm trying to think. So many other lessons that there are. I'm going to, for now, for right this minute, I'm going to tell you a Mother's Day story. And so this happens every year. But when my daughter was born, this is my Mother's Day story. So when my daughter was born, I mean, I was on a 9-month bed rest before I had her. Yes, I know I've got a weird body. What can I tell you? I have the weirdest body. My uterus is back to front. My kidney was deformed. They can't find my parathyroid. What else is wrong with me? All sorts of weird things. My daughter is the same. She has some stuff going on, and yet None of my siblings have any of this quirky stuff going on with them. So it looks like we were just chosen. What can I tell you? Anyway, so I was on bed rest for 9 months. I'd had several miscarriages before I had my daughter. And I can remember this moment. And Reese knows of this moment. My grandson knows of this moment. My daughter, of course, knows of this moment. And they know of this moment because I take every opportunity to talk about it to them, because it's my way of telling them and explaining to them how well loved they are by me. But I remember being given my daughter for the first time, and I'd had a very difficult birth and the 9 months and all of that. So I was quite exhausted at the end of it, but waiting for them to give me my child. And Samantha was born with a stack of hair. I mean, it just all stuck out, and it was jet black. She's very blonde. As she got older, you could see it. You could see the change in her. She had when you want to go blonde, but you've got black roots. Well, it was the other way around. She had black tips to her hair, long black tips to her hair, and you could see the blonde coming out. Anyway, she had lots of hair, and I can remember holding her, and I can remember putting my face down to her head, and as clearly as it was yesterday, and it certainly wasn't, I remember the feel of her hair, the softness, the amazing softness of her hair on brushing my cheek. And it's a memory that I will always have. It's very special to me because it was sort of this incredible bonding moment where the softness and the newness and the incredible miracle that I held in my hand was just unbelievable. So every birthday, Samantha's birthday, I do this. And now Samantha, it makes me laugh. Now Samantha started doing it the last couple of years with Reese, because the night before Samantha's birthday, I'll call her up, and I've done it every year since she was born. And I'll call her up and I'll say, oh gosh, I've got awful pains in my stomach. And, I don't know what I'm going to, and she starts laughing, and then I'll say, really? And I start describing how I'm feeling, and basically I'm going through the labor pains because I'm remembering them, and I want her to know this is what I went through to get you, and you were worth every second of it. And we make a thing out of it. And when Reese first heard me do it, he's looking at his mom, and his mom is laughing, and he's saying, but Mosey's not, well, Mosey's hurting. And then, of course, then she told him, and now when it's just his birthday, the day before his birthday, at some point during the afternoon or going into the evening, she'll look at him, she'll say, oh no, I've got such pains in my tummy. And it's just our way of reminding each other. It's not, this is what I went through, so much as I'm remembering the night, I'm remembering the experience, and I'm sharing the joy with you, and I'm sharing the pain with you, but I'm also sharing the joy with you. And now Reese loves it as well, because his mum starts with him, and then I'll call him and I'll say, oh no, I think we have to take your mummy to hospital. And he starts to giggle and laugh, and we just make this story of it. And this is just something, I've never heard anyone else do the same thing. Not that, that people, why would you? It's a weird thing. But it's a joyous thing. And it's a mother to daughter, and a mother to son, and a grandmother to grandson thing that bonds us and keeps us, because it's just something that is special that we do. So we have a Mother's Day on the 7th of April, which is my daughter's birthday. We have a Mother's and Grandmother's Day on the 12th of February, which is Reese's birthday. And nobody does it for me, of course. My birthday, May 19th. But first thing in the morning, there's Reese's voice and Samantha's voice wishing they're always the first ones to wish me a happy birthday. So Mother's Day, Mothers and Daughters Day, Mothers and Sons Day, Grandsons Day, Granddaughters Day, all of those things. It's Sunday we celebrate, yes, because it's that one day that somebody picked and let's have a Mother's Day. We can sell lots of flowers and make lots of money and make all these cards and make lots of money. But it's something that should happen as often as possible, that mothers show their appreciation to their children and children hopefully share their appreciation for their mothers, grandmothers, and why not include the fathers and the grandfathers as well? You might say, well, they've got their special day, but anyway, show appreciation every day. Okay, Chris, we are getting very close to the end of this show. Anything else before we go?
Well, we're always going to leave people in the chat room with questions, so it's up to you what you want to do.
If you've got time, I've got time. We can certainly keep going if you want for a little bit.
All right. Well, Jojo said thank you for the message you gave her, but she really wants to know, now that the mom has passed, does the mom recognize this? Is she sorry?
Well, here's the deal. Without actually talking to your mum, and I'm not going to do that today, I can tell you that my mother, I don't think she's a bit sorry. It depends how much people learn, how much they grow, how much they accept or don't accept. Just because people pass into the spirit world doesn't mean that they change their personality necessarily. It doesn't mean necessarily that they've learned anything. We'd like to think that they do, but it doesn't necessarily mean so. But I have got Gregor's hand on my shoulder, Jojo, and I think it's safe to say that your mother is learning, and this is your mother's, let's say, biggest Achilles heel. Her biggest issue was the spite. So Gregor is using the word spite. So she would spite you, and unfortunately you were the punch bag. She would spite you for all of the things that went wrong in her life, many of which she caused herself, but she is learning. So that's all you can hope. I do not want you to take the burden of her on your shoulders. I want you to go out there and find joy in your life, and don't look back, and don't give it another thought. Chris.
Lorraine's asking, do you have a message from my dad who passed away 27 years ago today? Also today, my black lab is Bean's birthday. Any word or bark from her?
I can only tell you that Gregor tells me they're all together. I love the name Beans for a dog. All I can tell you is that they are together and with you. So that's that. Any other questions, Chris?
Last one from Joanna. I'm so honored to again be joining from South Africa. I want to ask how many spirit guides we are allowed to have in a single space and time.
The majority of us, Joanna, do not have spirit guides. There are only a very, very few people. I'm one of those people. You will only have a spirit guide if you work for the spirit world, as I do pretty much 100% of the time. but we all of us have our loved ones in the spirit world who guide us and who love us. And I was talking to someone, giving a consultation this week to someone, and they mentioned, you know, that they would like to talk to these 3 people, and the next thing you know, we've got a room full of people. There is no limit to how many of your loved ones, your friends, those who care about you in the spirit world. There is absolutely no limit to how many of those you have, and the ones closest to you are the ones who will guide you and steer you. And I love the fact that you're from South Africa. I was in South Africa, can't think, remember now if it was once or twice, but anyway, I was there, and I met Mr. Mandela, shall I call him? I actually met him when I was there. They'd just let him out of prison at the time. That was an experience. And keep going. We can find loads of different experiences that, you know, I've just had such an amazing life and lots of amazing experiences. I just want you to live your life knowing that your loved ones are close by you, and they will guide you and they will steer you. But I'm going to give you a word of caution. Listen. Stop talking and listen. Okay, I think that's it, Chris, for today. So next Thursday we will be doing the show in the morning, and we shall be doing our webinar in the afternoon. I think it starts at 2:00. If you want to know more about that, go to the website. You can email Chris and she can tell you more information, or however you want to do it. We'd love to have you join us. Obviously, we're going to have a good time. We're going to be talking about vibration. I'm not sure what their agenda is. I'll know it when I see it, but I do know what my agenda is. So that's the important thing for me. So it will be obviously, hopefully, a great lesson, a great learning experience. So until next week, until hopefully I see you all again, please everybody have a very, very blessed rest of the day. Have a very blessed rest of the weekend, and I will see you all. I'd like to say thank you to Chris. I'd like to say thank you to all of you for joining us. Of course, I'd like to say thank you to Grey Eagle most of all. Until I see you all again, please, please find joy in your lives. Hold on to it and have a very, very blessed Sunday, Mother's Day or not.